Greetings and thanks for tuning in. I'm Don Taylor from Main Street Middle School in Montpelier, and welcome to the first episode of the PLP Pathways webinar series. I'd like to thank Orca Media for letting us film the show in their studio.
Hello, I'm Maura Kelly. I'm a 7th grade humanities teacher at People's Academy Middle Level in Morrisville, Vermont.
As part of our work with personalization, personal learning plans, and Act 77, we're hosting the PLP Pathways webinar series in an effort to support educators, provide resources, and develop collaborative and community connections to support our work.
Before we get too far into today's show, we want to make sure you know how to stay in contact with us. You can visit our site, follow us on Twitter, and stay posted on what's happening through our blog. We'll show you these again at the end of our show. Every month, we'll be hosting a Google Hangout for Vermont educators. This pre-recorded segment will lead to online discussion, collaboration, and planning among interested educators. Videos will be posted on the PLP Pathways YouTube channel.
Before we go too much further, why don't we explain what personal learning and personal learning plans are all about?
Much of this initiative was signed into law with the passage of Act 77, Flexible Pathways, in 2013. The law supports flexible pathways to graduation, dual enrollment for high school students, and innovative educational initiatives. Additionally, students are required to have a personal learning plan that outlines their educational goals, growth, and progress.
At the middle level, we've been working hard to develop a personal learning plan that is developmentally appropriate, meets the criteria set out by the Agency of Education, and helps students become proficient in the 21st century skills.
As a school, People's Academy Middle Level set forth last year developing and implementing a PLP where all students grades 5 through 8 set goals, reflected on and tracked growth, as well as showcasing their learning through student-led conferences.
Maura, could you talk a little bit more about how your students set up their PLP and the technologies that they're using to develop that plan?
At our school, we see the PLP existing in 3 stages: the curation of student work, students' reflection on learning, and students showcasing their growth towards meeting their goal on their PLP. Due to this design, the students are using Google Sites to create their PLPs, they're reflecting on their learning through Blogger, and they're storing all of their work on Google Drive.
In my classroom, we've been using a Google Sites template that emphasizes 7 key areas: identity, community, principles and values, goals, evidence, citizenship, and exploration. Students begin the process with this template. Each page of the template becomes a place for students to create standards-based content related to their learning. For example, on the introductory page, students create a short biographical paragraph, a word cloud identifying their strengths, challenges, and characteristics, and a self-portrait.
Because at People's Academy, we were creating PLPs for grades 5 through 8, we at first had to decide our non-negotiables. Once we decided those on the school level, each grade level designed a template for their students to use that would house their PLP. As a 7th grade team, we decided to have 4 areas where we would focus on the students' PLP. We had a My Life section where students put their biographies and self-portraits, My Goals, which included the students' academic and wellness goals tied to the transferable skills, and My Growth, where they picked reflections and evidence that showed growth in meeting their goals. And finally, in the My Futures section, students completed a learning style profile, participated in career interest surveys, and started to explore post-secondary options.
We want to make it clear that schools can choose a platform that best suits their needs and their learning environment. Because Montpelier schools use Google, we feel that the Google Apps for Education are the best fit for us. Whatever platform is utilized, it's very important that the information is kept within the closed school network. This protects the information and privacy of both the teachers and the students. To help guide students through the development of their personal learning plans, we've created a personal learning framework with Dr. James Nagel of St. Michael's College. This framework identifies 3 specific phases of the personal learning process. First, students are encouraged to consider their identity as a learner. After identifying their strengths, challenges, and interests, students begin to develop academic, extracurricular, and personal goals.
Many of the questions around identity are things that teachers touch on at the start of the school year. When thinking about transitioning to a PLP, it is a nice transition to start to embed some of the PLP language with your students.
We utilize the identity phase at the very beginning of the school year. This helps us to understand more about the learners who are entering our learning community, and it helps us to understand how we're going to support them throughout the school year.
On my team, led by our math teacher, Amelia Burns, we focus on a growth mindset with our students and have our students take a learning styles inventory to start thinking about who they are as a learner. We then have students set some very short-term wellness goals, teaching them the skills and dispositions they need to learn to be reflective but also open to the goal-setting process.
Once you've chosen your template, it's important for teachers to think about their PLP planning over the course of the year. We call this knowing your calendar. This will help teachers and students develop milestones for the development of their PLPs. It's really important to consider quarter and trimester transitions, but also your parent conferences so you can discuss the personal learning and growth that students are displaying through their personal learning plan.
We know we just gave you a lot of information, but we'd like you to join us at 3:30, September 24th, for our PLP Pathways webinar. At that time, we'll talk more about implementing PLPs, planning and logistics, and how to get your year off to a great start.
Thank you very much for joining us. And again, we hope to see you on the 24th of September at 3:30 for our first PLP Pathways webinar. See you then.